I am in the middle of the Maine wilderness. I had a campsite picked out yesterday. Came by here, set up my tent, had brought firewood. I had to wait outside of the woods for the show to drop so I could listen to it. Come back, my tent's fucking trashed. My fire pit that I dug out was trashed. Oh, fuck. I have no way to light a fire. And this is gonna make for a shitty episode. I saw a swamp when I was scouting the other day. Over here somewhere. I'm looking for something to help me start the fire. I brought extra firewood with me, but everything in this woods is soaked. I'm about 4 hours from my house, and I'm about 2 hours in the middle of the woods. It is so fucking easy to get turned around in here at night. Oh, I found it. This is what I'm looking for. Except it's soaking wet. This is old man's beard. It should still light. I don't want to take too much of it though. All right. I'm gonna collect some of this shit. So I got the old man's beard. That'll help. Now we just need something else. And hopefully I can get this fucking fire started so I can start this fucking episode. Let's try this. Alright, so what we want to do here is, hopefully you guys can see this. Fuck me, the things I do for fucking KMS. I need to get this fucking fire started. Alright, so hopefully you guys can see this. This is what I want. I want this dry shit. I'm gonna need 2 hands. I'm gonna gather a bunch of this shit. I'm gonna try to hit a bunch of different trees so I don't fucking ruin one. I'm gonna look for some birch. Alright, old man's beard. Okay. I haven't done this in a while, so bear with me. So it is 1 o'clock in the morning and I was supposed to start filming. I can take this stupid fucking thing off. I was supposed to be filming about 4 hours ago. KMS reloaded. That's the lights of my truck, by the way. This is my old man's beard. Even though it's soaked. Alright, we're getting there. What's up everybody? Welcome to KMS Reloaded, episode 5. I am in the middle of nowhere, Maine. I came to this spot yesterday. Wood is soaked. I came to this spot yesterday. Set up an old cheap piece of shit tent that I had. Brought a bunch of firewood. Brought some kindling. And dropped it all off, set it up, thought it was gonna be fine. I drive about 2 hours away from this spot because it's the closest place to get reception. I listen to the show on YouTube. I get to this spot. My tent is just destroyed. Some asshole even picked up these stones, I don't know if you can see them, and just threw them that way, threw them that way, threw them all over the place. There was fucking beer cans everywhere. I cleaned those up. Let's see how this goes. Welcome to KMS Reloaded fucking Campfire Edition. Didn't have time to take notes on my note cards, so unfortunately I'm gonna have to use my phone. I apologize. So the show starts off and Kirk has a bold take about Mr. Dave Cullinane's daughter that is so horrific, even I won't repeat it. Then they get right into Mike's chain. Now, I was accused of not watching the show by multiple people, but I remember Mike's chain coming up in the past, or a similar chain of Mike's coming up in the past. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm crazy. So then the guys talk about Wednesday's guest, Maitland Ward. I actually just got the notification 2 hours ago that her audiobook dropped, so I'm going to be listening to that. I'm curious to see what she has to say. She narrated it too, so that should be interesting. When I was on the show, Greg was in the chat, which is pretty fucking sad. You think of all he's accomplished. The 34th biggest TV writer in Sweden, which is a big accomplishment. Been the first person to sleep with Amy Poehler. He's the first person to have a child with her. You know, you think Kirk Minahan's funny, you think Blind Mike's funny, you even think that moron Cullinane's funny. How the fuck do you ever come back from Mr. Greg making that Falcons joke? Dear God, I don't even know if I can recover, Greg. Jokes like that, man, you wonder, how the fuck isn't this guy working all the time? And people think Amy's funny. The guys then bring up that KFC, I guess, is doing some changes to his show. Doesn't sound like he's changing much. I'm willing to bet that within the first, I would say, 2 weeks of KFC's new show, KFC will start some shit on Twitter or something like that. He'll say something to get Kirk to respond, and then next thing you know, Kirk will be on his show, which is fine, but I think you're gonna see it forced from KFC. One of the things about KFC when it comes to Kirk, he always wishes he had the draw of Kirk Minahan. And don't forget, KFC cheated on his wife and almost destroyed his family. So then Dave starts talking about nipple orgasms. Isn't Dave just the most fucking thirstiest guy for some of these barstool broads? He talks all this shit, he says all this stuff, but who's the guy fucking rubbing tugging on OnlyFans for work? You know, I can't picture many of you guys rubbing and tugging to Alex Bennett, although actually, now that I say that, you guys probably would, you sick fucks. Horny Dave Cullinane. You could definitely tell Dave hadn't rubbed one out today because he was talking about nipple orgasms on Twitter all day. He was talking about it on the show. You could just tell Dave needed to get the poison out. Do you think Dave's beat off in the KMS studios? I bet she has. So then Kirk gets into something that I saw when he tweeted this out earlier, and some of you did as well. So some chick on Twitter, some ultra right-wing MAGA chick, she decides to take some shots basically at this guy from Bed Bath & Beyond who was doing some criminal activity, and he threw himself, I think it was the 18th story window, I believe. And so this chick basically has to get on Twitter and say that she thinks that he was thrown out the window. The idea that you would try to get clicks off of some poor bastard fucking killing himself. Most people wouldn't take shots at that chick like Kirk did. Most people would just let it go. But that's just not Kirk. That's just not who Kirk is. That's one thing I like about Kirk, is that when he finds something that he believes in, you know, he isn't afraid to say his mind. And when it comes to mental health shit and it comes to suicide, there is a stigma, there is a negative stigma about it he always talks about. Even though that woman's probably going to continue to say stupid stuff, and that people know that she's been called out. God forbid someone who did something like that, who was obviously suffering from either guilt or shame or both. You know, the idea that she would just use this guy's story just to get views, it goes to show you how just truly some of these fucking people, just what pieces of shit they really are. Does anyone think she really believes that this guy who was caught, I don't know, was it embezzling money, it seems like? Does anyone believe that he possibly didn't have the guilt within him to throw himself off a fucking 18th story window? So then the guys go real quick, they talk about Trump retail stores. You know what's funny? I never saw those either until I moved up to Maine, and I've seen a fucking bunch of them. It is weird, a store just dedicated to one person. It's such a bizarre cult that they fucking belong in. And it's no different on the other side, obviously. But it's just weird to see like this fucking cult mentality where you're gonna go to a store and you can walk out with a hat with his face on it, his shirt with his face on it, you know, fucking pants, socks, underwear, toilet paper. I mean, you fucking name it. You could get anything. Then the guys talk about Trump's speech in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. I actually watched it because it was on in my house, unfortunately. Just a fucking snoozer, man. Oh my God. Is there anything more boring than listen to these fucking politicians ramble on for hours and hours and hours? Who would even go to that? Who would be caught dead going to any of these fucking speeches? Even the people behind them. Sometimes people are sitting there with their eyes closed. I mean, they're fucking sleeping, these people. Jesus Christ. Bill Burr and Tony V comes up. Mike starts talking about that show. He said it was only an hour. Can you imagine going into Boston, dealing with all that bullshit, going to fucking Fenway Park to see fucking Bill Burr, and then all of a sudden, it's over in a fucking hour? It's gonna take you longer to get out of the traffic than it is for the whole fucking show. Now, I used to be a Bill Burr fan. I forget the name of the special he did. He was in black and white. It was a few years ago. It was one of the funniest specials I've ever seen. Bill Burr was a funny-ass fucking comedian. Here comes the rain. Bill Burr was a funny-ass fucking comedian, but now he's like a caricature of himself. And what's interesting is that early in his comedy, Bill Burr used to talk about that. Like, he didn't want to sound like that whiny fucking guy, and guess what, Bill Burr? That's what you've turned into. I'm surprised. I agree a lot with Mike on his comedy takes, but I don't agree with him on that one. I think Bill Burr is kind of over the hill a little bit. I think Bill Burr is just past his prime. And Tony V, ugh. The guys then say that I'm destined to ruin KMS, which I thought was pretty funny, but now I'm promoted to guest host. So anytime Kirk's on vacation, guys, you're gonna be stuck with me. If you thought my first appearance was bad, wait till I'm in the studio by myself. And this is when Dave just starts making assumptions about expectations on conversations we've never fucking had. Some of the things Dave's talking about at this part in the show, we've never even talked about. Basically, all the conversations, not basically, all the conversations we've had about me being on the Kirk Minahan show, you guys have all heard. No bullshit. You know, Dave's sitting there saying that I expect Mike's chair, that I expect to be the Friday guest. I don't expect anything. I don't expect shit from these guys. I'm just doing this show. They invite me in, it's great, and I want to help to make the best fucking Kirk Minahan show possible. You know, it sounds almost like Dave would rather have one of his buddies in, you know, some guy that just kisses his ass all the time. Well, that's not going to be me, Mr. David. And then Justin's cooler comes up. I am willing, I've never met Justin, but I am willing to deliver the cooler to Justin and then meet that man. I'd like to shake his hand, and I'd like to get all the dirt on fucking Dave Cullinane. That way I have all the ammo that I need to go after this fucking pervert. It sounds like Dave and Justin got some fucking drug deal going on with this cooler. I might just say I'm going to deliver the cooler to Justin and just take it because I could use a nice Yeti cooler. So then Jerry and Newsmax comes up, and I watched this clip, seeing if I could pull something funny from it. The whole clip is hilarious. Just hearing Jerry just blabber on about Biden, you know, the typical shit. But what I love about Kirk in this moment is freaking Kirk, he literally predicts Jerry's words before they come out of his mouth. Kirk knows Jerry so much to a T that he literally predicts the words that are coming out of Jerry's mouth. It's fucking brilliant. Then Ben Stiller and Sean Penn come up. I guess they've been banned from Russia. I agree with the guys that, you know, as far as Ben Stiller, he's just doing it for clout. I mean, he's one of those guys now that I feel like his time has passed. He's just reaching now, Ben Stiller, man. He's just reaching for anything he can do. Guys like that, it's almost like once they hit a certain point in Hollywood, I mean, this is the guy, like they said on the show, this is the guy that made Tropic Thunder, Something About Mary. Now he's getting involved in this fucking bullshit with Russia. It's like, just give me a break, dude. Just make me laugh. I just want you to make me fucking laugh. That's all I want. Please, make something like Tropic Thunder again. It's just fucking sad. When the guys are talking about Sean Penn, the first thing that popped into my mind was this. So you're that dude Zelensky, who is in charge of Ukraine right now, the president of Ukraine or whatever. The last, I think, famous person Sean Penn met with, didn't he get arrested or found out that way? It just makes me laugh that people still trust Sean Penn. You know, Sean Penn was used by the fucking federal government or the Mexican government to track down that drug dude. And here fucking this Zelensky dude is trusting this son of a bitch. Like Putin's not fucking following this asshole. It is funny to see Ben Stiller and Sean Penn together when Ben Stiller took some wicked shots at Sean Penn in Tropic Thunder. That was pretty funny to see. So they talk about that guy Frank. I don't really know much about him other than we all know that his ending will be bad. It's going to be sudden and it's going to be soon, and he'll probably be the first Barstool funeral, which I'm interested to see what that's like. Think about that. Think about the size of the casket for that fucking fat fuck. You need a forklift to get his fat ass out. But yeah, that guy's not going to have a happy ending. Frank's not going to have a happy ending. How many fucking Paul Bearers does it take to carry that casket? Holy shit. Yeah, you know what though, now that I think of it, just get some Portnoy meth, it'll be right up there. The guys mentioned Hulu real quick. If you haven't watched Prey on Hulu, check it out. It's pretty decent for what it is. Then the Funny or Die controversy comes up. So I got this article pulled up. Yeah, I know, the last time I did this, it went really well. A child sexual abuse lawsuit has been filed against Tiffany Haddish along with comedian Aries Spears, accusing them of grooming a 14-year-old and her 7-year-old brother to do explicit skits for a Funny or Die video. They claim that it was shot several years ago and they were traumatized for life. According to legal documents obtained by TMZ, one video features Haddish teaching the underage girl how to mimic fellatio. The stand-up comedian actress is also accused of taking the boy to a home where she and Spears molested him while filming a Funny or Die video entitled Through the Pedophile's Eyes. This is what fucking Haddish said. Of course, typical fucking Hollywood cop-out. Quote, I know people have a bunch of questions. I get it. I'm right there with you. Unfortunately, because this is an ongoing legal case, there's very little I can say right now. But clearly, while the sketch was intended to be comedic, it wasn't funny at all, and I deeply regret having agreed to act in it. I really look forward to being able to share a lot more about this situation as soon as I can. Yeah, I'm sure you will. That's what makes me laugh about these fuckers in Hollywood. You know, these are the fucking same group of people that, you know, and mostly men, of course, that propagated someone like Harvey Weinstein. They let this scumbag go out there, molest all these women, rape all these women, and then a couple of brave women stand up, and what do they all do? They get right behind him and then they pat themselves on the back for supporting him when they could have fucking defended them, you know, for a decade. And it's kind of the same idea with this story. These fucking people will do whatever they want to whoever they want. Doesn't matter whether it's you, me, someone else's kids, doesn't fucking matter. Money talks and bullshit walks. Fucking people are sick, man. But also at the same time, it's like, I don't want to sound like that guy, but where was this fucking kid's parents? It's like, you're just gonna let your fucking kid go up on a movie set and you don't even give a fuck? Paul Reiser comes up on the show, and the only thing I gotta say about Paul Reiser is I hope I'm in studio for that one, because I'd like to ask him a couple questions. Played minor roles in some of my most favorite movies like Beverly Hills Cop, Aliens. He did a really good job in Aliens, and I would just like to be there to talk about it with him, so I hope I'm in studio for that one. So then the guys start talking about WEEI, or Odyssey, whatever the hell it's called, and Glenn Ordway being fired, I believe a third time now? Fourth time? Who can keep track? Poor fucking Glenn. He's a guy for me, along with Jerry, that was really like instrumental in kind of making me fall in love with the radio and stuff like that. And it's just sad to see, along with Jerry, just how far these old bastards have fallen from grace. The one thing I think is kind of pathetic about Glenn Ordway is the fact that if they called him 2 months from now and said, hey Glenn, do you want to come back? He'd fucking be back. So I got a lot of respect for Glenn Ordway. He's done a lot for the radio, especially in Boston. But at the same time, he is pretty fucking pathetic. He either doesn't do well with his money, or this dude is just a suck ass. Glenn, stay fucking retired. Your time has passed. Live Golf comes up again. Dave's obsession with Live Golf's financial sustainability is so weird to me. You know, Kirk called him out right for it when he goes, oh yeah, what's the next event if you're such a big Live Golf fan? It's funny, you look at the ratings of that, and they're pretty much non-existent. You know, I never knew that, but Kirk said that they're hemorrhaging money. I was looking into that, and he's absolutely right. Live Golf is just pissing away money. it's going to be one of those things, kind of like what Blind Mike said too, where no one's ever going to be able to knock out the main golf organizations. Just like no one's ever going to be able to knock out NFL, MLB. Live Golf isn't going to be here in 10 years, just like Kirk said. He's absolutely right. It's almost like a game to the people that are financing it. It's almost just like yeah, we'll just throw some money in this for now until we get bored. Then we're done with it. Justin's soap business comes up, and I feel like that wasn't supposed to be talked about. And man, did that guy sound defeated? Did that guy sound like he just did not want to be on the phone with fucking Kirk Minahan? It was actually really weird. He said he was out. He said he was, out at a bar or something like that. I'm surprised how done with the show Justin is, how much of a clean break he's actually successfully made. The last time, he couldn't stay away, but I wish Justin well in his soap business. He's going to be the only soap snow cone maker in New England, I think. If you want to see an example of Kirk Minahan getting in someone's head and just changing their thought patterns, look no further than Dave Cullinane and his baldness. This guy went from a few weeks ago claiming he didn't have anything wrong with his hair to he's having fucking hair plug consultations, calling in on the show while he's trying to work. This dude's losing it in clumps every fucking day. On my Twitter profile, I got a picture of his bald head when it first got discovered. And when you see it now in person, it's fucking insane how much hair he's lost in a short amount of time. He's got to be like stressed out and like pulling it out of something, or his hair's got fucking cancer. I don't know. The best bit of the show, we discover that Mike and I would assume Dave are sponsored by Taffer's Tavern. Just another great bit by Kirk. Kirk comes up with a little skit me and Dave could do, a Pretty Woman remake. I am down for that for sure. I think that would make a funny live show video. Put it on the back burner for a while, let you guys forget about it, and then we'll spring it upon you guys. And I am not kissing Dave Cullinane. I don't know where fucking Cupcake's been. Millie Bobby Brown calls in. I had no idea she was a child molester, but that was a really good call. Dave then makes a comment that gets under my skin fucking immensely. Can you picture that guy at the live show? Dave, I'm gonna tell you something right now. I may not know how to do the Kirk Minahan show. I may know how to do fucking audio better than you. I may know how to even do video better than you. I don't know how to set up YouTubes better than you, although that's debatable. We've seen some of your fucking YouTube setups. You were the one who was responsible. Let's not forget, you were the one who was ultimately responsible for that $30,000 fucking disaster. Things that you do for the show, the live shows. What a cross. That was, what an epic piece of construction that cross was that you made. Fucking thing was barely holding together. And then your instincts at that live Wilbur show to put a sheet over Kirk's head. Wow. Yeah, Dave, no one could fucking replicate your genius at the live show. So at this point of the show, when Tom Cruise's penis comes up, Dave gets really excited for that. Not surprised. This is not the first time Dave has talked sexually about Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is a handsome man. I am not attracted to him because Dave is now. So the guys close out the show talking about loyalty. I think it's very telling that someone like Dave is questioning someone else's loyalty. This is a guy that, as soon as he had a better opportunity to go from the Jerry Callahan show to the Kirk Minahan show, he slit fucking Jerry's throat, took fucking audio. He admits today he took, I don't know whether it was financial information or just information that he gathered while it was on the show. So he took that. Is anyone really going to be surprised when Dave Cullinane stabs Kirk Minahan in the back and goes to do something else? I'm not going to be surprised. All right, so before we close out this disaster train wreck of a show, I'd like to talk about one good thing, and that's the sponsors. We got TommyJohn.com/Kirk, my favorite, BetterHelp.com/Kirk10, BlindMike.net, and you can check out his Patreon, Miltons.com. Milton's a store for men. They got 3 locations in Massachusetts. The final sponsor of the day, which I'm going to check these guys out, is Ridge.com, Ridge Wallet. They're like a protective thin wallet that can help hide from data thievery. Code KIRK, and you get 10% off, and you also get entered to win either a Ford Bronco or $75,000 cash. Before we close out the show, I just want to talk to you guys real quick. I'm filming a intro hopefully this weekend if everything goes well, and then I'll put another poll up to see if you guys want to keep the intro. Time to pack all this garbage up. Hopefully you guys come back. Take it easy, guys.
No big deal. No hard feelings. Good luck. Fuck you!